Hey everybody! Please let me know that you can hear me okay. I feel like I've been such a stranger in this group and I am so sorry. Do you guys even remember me? Do you know who I am? I hope you haven't forgotten me. Uh, for those of you who don't know, my name is Kelsa. I am the admin of this group. I'm also a financial coach, been a financial coach for 11 years now, which is crazy town. You can find my coaching site under fiscalfitnessphx.com. I am also the creator and trainer behind Financial Coach Academy. And normally I like to do a lot of videos in here and chat with you guys. And I have just been so busy, which is not a bad thing, right? This round of the Financial Coach Academy Live has been amazing, you guys. It has been incredible. They're keeping me very, very busy with all of the questions they're asking, all of their engagement, and I am not complaining. Hashtag sorry, not sorry, but this is the best group of coaches we've ever had come through the Academy. So they are just showing up at like a whole new level, which has been really incredible. It's been amazing to watch and see what they're creating in their businesses. But it does mean that they are keeping me on my toes, asking lots of great questions, and I've been super honored. So it has taken me away from you guys just a little bit, but I'm back into the swing of things, of course, and I'm excited to do this video today. I'm going to be talking about the 10 traits and skills that are necessary to be a successful financial coach. Of course, these are not going to be all inclusive. There's lots of things you need. So these are just the ones that I think are oftentimes not talked about or missed a little bit, and yet I consider them to be crucial. So we're going to be covering those. I did want to make a couple of announcements before we dive in. The first is that the next Financial Coach Academy in the spring kicks off on January 23rd. All of the dates are now available. Enrollment is now open for the spring round if you're interested. It is limited to just 20 coaches. We have no plans to change that anytime soon. So we've limited it to 20 every round, and it seems to be a perfect number so that there's camaraderie and sharing and group dynamic, but also not so many people that we can't give you guys our individualized attention and really help you through building your business. So it's limited to 20 people, 20 coaches. This last round is sold out a month before the date that it even started. So it kicks off on January 23rd. So by December 23rd, it could possibly be sold out again. And so if you are interested in joining us in the spring, please make sure you enroll now. Don't worry that you feel like you're going to miss out on anything for these next 3 months before it kicks off. As soon as you enroll, you get all the pre-work, so you'll get that automatically, so you can start diving into some material that we want you to begin learning even before it starts. And then if you finish that and you just drop me a note, I will send you lesson 1 right away. That way, even if it's like a month before we launch, you can get started ahead of time. So I can do that. I'll send you lesson 1. So you're not missing out. The time's going to go by either way, right? We've got a busy holiday season coming up. So make the most of it if you've got time off and dive into the Academy. Let's see. If you are interested in that, financialcoachacademy.com. On the top, click on Financial Coach Training and you will see the live details there. One more sweet opportunity before we dive into a few other announcements. I wanted to make sure you guys knew that the Financial Coaches Symposium is coming up in 6 months. It's in May. It's the 2-day training happening in May. We did add a 3rd day to it, so I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 2 days of training. 1 day on Sunday, we're calling it the Sunday Fun Day. We've got some really cool activities planned that day, all as a group, and I'm pretty thrilled about that. The other 2 days we've been busy. We've got the speaker lineup chosen. We've got the breakout sessions picked. And I am just thrilled. If you thought it was awesome this last year, just wait. It's going to be even better. And I'm really excited. And just a reminder, if you register for that by the end of the month, so we'll say Friday because the end of the month is technically Thursday, but it's Halloween. And we're taking our kids trick-or-treating. What are you guys going to be for Halloween? I'm super curious. I wear a sweatshirt that has a little frog hoodie, and that's the extent of my costume. I wear it every year. Halloween is typically not my jam. I'm not going to lie. My favorite part of Halloween is seeing my kids. Carmen, no matter who she sees, she says, "Oh my God, mommy, look, there's a princess," or "Oh my God, mommy, look it, there's a dolphin." Like, she doesn't understand that's just a costume. She really thinks that she's like seeing a princess or seeing a dolphin or whatever the case may be. And it's just adorable. So I'm curious, what will you be for Halloween? Please tell me. So we'll probably stop the promotion on Friday. And the promotion is that if you enroll for this symposium or you register for the symposium, you get lesson 1 of the Academy for free. So we send that to you as soon as you register, which is pretty exciting. If you are coming to the symposium, if you're looking for somebody to share a room with, please let us know, because oftentimes people will message us and ask us if we know of anybody. So we can kind of keep a little bit of a list going of guy or girl if they're looking to share a room, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in the symposium, financialcoachacademy.com under events at the top. So a couple of other things. One more big announcement that I need your guys' help with. My publishing coach, for those of you who have not been in the group for a while, I'm writing a book all about financial coaching, and I have a publishing coach, thank God. Her name's MK. She's extremely well known in the personal finance space. She was the publishing coach for the Choose FI book. She's amazing. She helped out with the Phiology workbook, that kind of thing. So she has told me that I need to start finding my beta readers. So I am officially looking for 24, so about 24, 25 of you who would like to read the book before it's actually published. Give us your feedback, and also hopefully leave us a review when the time comes. So what I'm looking for is about half of those people who have taken the Academy and would like to read the book, and the other half who are brand new to financial coaching, have not taken the Academy, have not done any sort of training at all, and would like to read the book and learn more about becoming a financial coach and are willing to read it and give me your feedback. So I will post in the comments a form where you can sign up to be a beta reader, since I don't want to try and keep it all organized myself with a bunch of messages that you guys might send me. So I created a Google form. You can edit it. You can put your name, email address on there, and yes or no whether you've taken the Academy or not. And again, I'm looking for both. But also that way, as the day gets closer when we'll actually have you read it, I'll give you a heads up. Don't worry, I'm not going to just drop it on your lap and say, by the way, I need it in a week or anything like that. We'll give you some notice. But I am really excited to put it in your guys' hands and see what you think. It's called the Financial Coaching Playbook. It is a workbook type book. So it is not just text. It's got handouts and worksheets and all sorts of things. And so I'm really excited about what I believe are the tangible benefits that a financial coach can gain from reading the book. So pretty excited about that. If you're interested, please sign up, and I'll post a link to the sign up form in the comments. Okay. Couple of other things that I promise I'm going to get to the skills, because I know that's what you guys are all here for. I've shared some things recently, and I just wanted to make sure you guys saw them. So I did a training video all about YouTube with Brittany Waters, who has an amazing YouTube channel. She's a financial coach, and I wanted to make sure you saw it. If you are interested in creating a YouTube channel, if you're thinking about doing it, you're not sure where to begin, please check out that training video. I'll post a link to that as well in the comments. It is full of just really valuable gems. She really gave us so much great information. And so if you are thinking of doing a YouTube channel, I know nothing about YouTube, so I will not claim to be able to help you with that. But thankfully, Brittany totally showed up on this training video and is giving us a lot of information. So that's one. Number 2, I posted a training video that I did with Bill Lures just recently. I think we posted it yesterday maybe, or maybe it was earlier today even. And I'll link to it again in the comments. And it's all about the process that Bill created in order to turn his prospecting into a game. So if you find prospecting hard, like finding new clients sort of challenging, or if you find that you're simply not consistent about it, so you have some weeks where you do a lot of it, other weeks where you don't do any, or maybe you have some months where you've got a lot of clients starting and some months where you just don't, and you're just really finding like the sales process or the prospecting really hard, then this video is for you. Bill created a spreadsheet. He turned it into a game. He's got to get so many points in a week. It's really cool. And he shares all about how he does that. You also can see like a PDF of the spreadsheet. That way you can create it with your own factors that you want to be scoring yourself on, but it's really cool. So I'll link to that as well. And I just want to make sure you guys were aware of it. Two more quick things that we rolled out. I did a podcast episode on the Fiscal Fitness podcast, all about the money mistakes that I've made in my life. And I don't know, I think you should check it out, because why not just talk about all the mistakes that we've all made in our life with money? I think we should. I think we should own it. If we expect our clients to talk openly about the mistakes they've made, then we have to do it too. I shared my 5. I'm curious if you can relate to any of those, if any of those are the same for you. Jill also shared her 5. Hers were totally different than mine, which I thought was kind of cool. So check those episodes out, and I will post a link to those as well. And then finally, there is a podcast episode that I would love your guys' thoughts on. It's not live yet. It should be live in the next week. And as soon as it is, I will link to it. It took me months to prepare because I was so passionate about this topic. It's all about having a wealth mindset and some of the hurdles that clients experience that we also experience when it comes to like what we think of wealthy people and how that maybe holds us back or limits us and all that kind of stuff. And it took me months to actually feel like the content was complete enough to actually record the episode. I recorded the episode about a week ago. I'm so glad I did. I tear up in the episode. It was just a very emotional episode for me for some reason, and I feel very passionate about it. And I would love for you guys to listen to it. I would love for you to just maybe take it in and consider how you could teach that with your clients or that kind of thing, because I do think it's really important. And so I would love it if you took a listen and just let me know what your thoughts are, either for yourself or for your clients. So that's it. I'll post a link to all that kind of stuff, but let's get into now the 10 traits and skills needed to be a successful financial coach. And again, this is not all inclusive. There's hundreds, let's be honest, of skills you probably need, but I think these are the 10 that if I think back on the past 11 years, they have really served me the best. And they kind of surprised me that I didn't think when I first started as an entrepreneur, as a financial coach. And again, I was not surrounded by a family of entrepreneurs, so I didn't know much about owning a business. I don't think I would have said these 10 were important. I don't think I realized it. They were not on my consciousness. So I want to share them with you guys. Would love to hear what you think. I also want to let you guys know, for some reason, I'm not seeing any comments. So if you're leaving me a comment, it's literally just like blank, like there's no comments. And I don't think that's like you guys. You guys usually leave me comments. So I'm not responding on purpose. I'm just not seeing any, which I don't think is correct. So let's dive in now to the 10 traits. Number 1, I believe, is flexibility. So there's no one way that we should all manage our money, that every single person, there's no one way that will work right for every single human that exists. And I believe that so often it's more about more than just budget and numbers and spreadsheets and that kind of thing. So having flexibility in the solutions and the approach that you take with clients, but also the flexibility of like your own business and making little tweaks here and there and experimenting and just trying to be flexible with what works and what doesn't work and saying like, well, that didn't work. What can I try next? I think is really important. And the more flexible you are, the sooner I think you'll succeed, because you'll be able to just keep trying different things and not get stuck in a rut. Okay. So number 1 skill is flexibility, both for your own business and for the sake of your clients and offering suggestions. Number 2 goes right alongside that, which is being creative and a creative problem solver specifically. So like I said, both for yourself and your business, but also for your client. So it is really normal that I ask in a client session, so, hey, what about this? Or have you tried blank? Or what do you like about this? And I had suggested a challenge months ago in this group about how many times do you find yourself asking a question that you don't know the answer to? Or do you try to control the conversation too much? And for me, when it comes to offering suggestions, I don't mind hearing no. Like if I say, hey, what about this? And a client says no, like it doesn't bother me. I don't take it personally. I don't think they're knocking my idea or me personally. I think it's just the journey, the creative process of really trying to teach them how to be a creative problem solver for themselves. And I need to really lead by example in that way. So I believe it's really important to troubleshoot, problem solve, be creative, and just think outside the box in your own business. And also when it comes to money with your clients' situations as well. Number 3, empathy. So Brene Brown, you guys know, total girl crush, says that empathy is like seeing somebody in a dark hole and they're stuck in the hole. And empathy is actually climbing into the hole with them and then saying, hey, like, how's it going? I'm so sorry you're down here, but don't worry. I've got the skills and the tools and the equipment to get us both out. Okay. So sympathy is like looking down and being like, oh, sucks to be you. That's such a bummer that you're stuck in a hole. I'm so sorry for you. Right. And then also a really bad move would be getting into the hole with somebody and not having the tools or the equipment or the skills to get you out or them out. And now you've got 2 people stuck in the damn hole, right? Like that doesn't work either. That's like codependency, enabling, whatever you want to call it. That's not productive. So empathy, I think, is really important. I believe that empathy is what helps clients trust us. I think it helps them to know that we can fully understand their problem and how they're feeling so that we can actually present those solutions or ideas or the creative problem solving, like I was just talking about, that are truly relatable to them. And we can talk about them in a way that we know they can understand, because we're not just talking about the numbers behind it, but we're talking about how it could benefit them emotionally, mentally, etc. So the other thing where I think empathy comes into play is even if the details of our own situation aren't identical to what the client is experiencing, it's likely that we have something we can relate to, and we need to try and utilize that as best as possible. So either saying like, well, when I was in a similar situation, even though it wasn't the same, I remember feeling the same way that you're feeling right now, and here's what helped me. Or I've had a number of clients experience that, and here's some of the things they've tried. Which one of these sounds like a good fit for you? Or which one of these things would you like to try, kind of thing, right? So really talking about it with them from an empathetic standpoint. Skill number 4, a desire to help, and understanding that helping and enabling are not the same thing. So coaching can be trying sometimes. It can be emotional. It can be a little exhausting depending on the types of sessions you've been having in a day. And it can be hard to be empathetic and care deeply about your clients and yet be able to leave those problems on your desk at the end of the night and then like go be with your family and be present in those moments. And I think what it boils down to for me is a true desire to help. And I have learned that I can't fully help my clients if I am mentally and emotionally spent, because I'm not managing all the problems that I'm seeing or the heartache that I'm seeing on a regular basis very well. So for me, I need to really learn how to manage that so that I can help like I desire to do. Like I have a strong desire to help, but in order to properly do that, I can't like get so emotionally invested that I can't see the problem clearly anymore either, right? So that's number 4. Number 5, resourcefulness. I'll be honest, you guys, sometimes I read some of the comments that you guys post in this group, and especially when it comes to things like credit report or scores or investments and some of the like long-term planning type things. You guys are so much smarter than me. I just want to make that super clear. Like your knowledge about personal finance, in my opinion, is like way more in depth than what mine is around certain topics. And yet, you know, I look at it and I am very confident in my resourcefulness and my ability to find the answer or find the person with the answer when my client needs it. So I do not doubt my ability that if I don't understand the concept or if I don't know the answer, I'm going to work my butt off to find it, both for my business and for my clients. And it really comes down to being resourceful. And I hope that you guys feel the same way about yourself. Like, I hope you feel like I don't need to know it all, because as soon as I need to know it, I'm going to go out and I'm going to find the answer, and I'm going to find the person who can help my client, or I'm going to find the person who can teach me about that. And don't wait till you have all the answers before you start helping people, because it will never happen. Like, I've been helping people for 11 years now, and I do not have all the answers. Some of you have way more answers than I have in your head, and yet I'm helping people on a regular basis. So it's possible, I promise. Adopt the skill of being resourceful, not a know-it-all, okay? Number 6, right alongside that, is being honest and transparent. So don't pretend that you're perfect with money. Record an episode for your clients too about the mistakes you've made in your life. Don't pretend you have all the answers, because I promise you don't. I don't. Our clients don't. Nobody does. And chances are that you can't help your clients if they're not truthful with you. I'm willing to bet you would agree with me on that. And I want you to understand that they can't trust you if you're not honest with them. So they don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be relatable. They need you to understand what they're going through. They need you to be empathetic. And that comes down to like being honest and transparent and just sort of owning this journey that we're all on with money and with entrepreneurship. Okay. It's really normal in a client session that I'll say, you know what, there's something about this and I just can't put my finger on it right now. And yet I need to do some pondering about it. I need to do some research, or I need to really think about this before I advise you in any way, or before we talk about this any further. I'd like to table this till next session. And to me, I'm just being honest that like there's something going on and I can't put my finger on it quite yet. And yet I want to be able to. And I've never had a client be like, oh, shame on you for not knowing the answer right away, right? Like if anything, they respect more that I'm saying, hey, I'm owning the fact that there's something here that I'm not sure about and I want to find out. I want to get you that answer. So number 7, being able to share bad news gracefully, compassionately, and constructively. I don't know if there's one word that describes this as a trait or a skill. If there is, please tell me what it is. But the idea of being able to share bad news gracefully, compassionately, and constructively. So sometimes you guys know our job is to sort of paint this grim picture of if that's what we're seeing, or it's like, hey, yeah, this is tough. You're in a tight bind, or hey, this is going to take a lot of work to get out of. It's going to take a long time, that kind of thing. And it can be really hard to portray that message. But if we can do it in a loving way, our clients, I believe, actually respect us and love us afterwards and not want to just sort of kill the messenger. And it takes practice to figure out how to do that eloquently. And you know, the idea of one of the questions I ask in my prep work for a brand new client is, if I were to tell you X, how would you respond? And it's something bad. Like, I don't remember the exact wording, but it's like, if I were to tell you you're in a very tough position and it takes a lot, it's going to take a lot to get out of it, like, how would you respond to that? And then I also ask the question, if I were to tell you you have all the money to reach all your goals and it's going to be great, how would you respond to that? And the reason I ask those questions on the front end is I want to know, how do they take advice? Would they appreciate it being sugar-coated a little bit and more delicate? Or some people will respond and say, that's what I'm thinking you're going to tell me, just tell it like it is. And if that's the case, I know that if I sugarcoat things, they might actually find that disrespectful. And so I don't need to be rude about it. I don't want to be harsh about it, but I also need to be a bit more direct, right? So by asking that type of question on the front end, I'm actually getting the feedback that I need in order to, you know, properly communicate maybe a tough situation in whatever way they're going to receive it best. I know for me personally, if like a really good friend needs to tell me something like, hey, Kelsa, I got to tell you, this is, you know, you're doing something that's like offensive or whatever, right? And if they're sugarcoating it, I get a little offended. Like, do you not think I can handle that? Like, I love you and you're my good friend and I just want you to tell me like it is, right? But that's my personality. That's how I prefer to receive constructive feedback. Like, I feel like when the whole sandwiching effect, where like you give a compliment and then you give a criticism and then you give a compliment, to me, that's a little offensive. Like, I feel like I'm being manipulated a little bit. It's just my personal opinion. So by asking those questions on the front end to the client, I'm trying to gain insight on how are they going to best receive the kind of message I have to give them? And it helps to dictate my communication style. So number 8, a growth mindset. So having a desire to always learn, admit what you don't know, continuously challenge the thoughts you have, maybe the ways that we all self-sabotage. We all have our own unique ways, right? this year I've shared how it's a massive growth year for me. I am now the CEO of a team of 5 people, soon to be 7, by the way. It's a little outside my wheelhouse to like run an organization and not just like coach a client right in front of me. And so I've been really honest with my team about where I'm at, and I'm owning the mistakes that I've made. I'm owning the missteps that I've taken. I'm surrounding myself by mentors who can help me step into this new role, to learn new skills, to become a better communicator, a better delegator. Because let's be honest, I have been terrible at delegation, and it's something that I'm working on. It is really hard. But it's that growth mindset, because no matter where you're at in your business, chances are like there's just a new opportunity about to present itself that you're going to have to grow into. And I'll be honest, like, I don't think I realized that at the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur. I think I thought like you get to an end point and then your business is just your business and it's not changing anymore. I don't know if any of you think that. I was definitely a little naive when I started. I didn't, like I said, wasn't surrounded by a bunch of business owners. So I didn't understand that like it's a continuous journey. Like we're always growing. We're always learning. We're always tackling the next thing. And so the sooner you can adopt that growth mindset, I think the better. Let's see. I had just written down, like, it might be that coaching is new to you. It might be that being an entrepreneur is new to you. It might be that both of those things are new to you. When I first started, I was new to both. And so it is absolutely okay if you are not stellar at those titles yet, if you don't have it all figured out. But my challenge for you is don't settle for that. Own the fact that you have some gaps in your skills and continue to ask questions, learn and absorb all that you can. Surround yourself by mentors, by experts, by people who you can learn from. And what I have noticed is that I'll have a mentor for one certain skill or area of my journey, my growth journey, and then I will kind of find like I've got this other gap that I need to fill next, and it might be somebody different, or it might be a mentor, and then the next one might be a training program. So kind of different feels there. All right, number 9, self-awareness. So knowing when you're at your best and when you're not. Knowing and owning your weaknesses, but also, stepping into your strengths so that you can have the growth mindset that we just talked about. Understanding how your experiences are possibly affecting your perspective on a situation in both good and bad ways. I think that is really important when you're talking to a client, almost like being able to sit outside yourself and know how you're being influenced by your own experiences so that you don't just like respond off the cuff a little bit. So knowing when you are possibly holding yourself back, or when you confidently step into a role really powerfully and it just feels really natural for you and you feel like you could do it all day and never tire of it, kind of thing. So anytime we can have more self-awareness, we can hone in on the things we want to do and the things we feel good at, and we can improve in the things that we're not great at, or delegate them or outsource them as quickly as possible. I knew really early on that writing is not my jam. I'm not a great writer. I get stuck very easily. Like, I can talk all day. You guys can tell I can ramble all day long. But when I sit down to try and write something or type something out, I like just freeze. And if I do end up writing something, the end result is like terrible. It just doesn't sound very good, and I'm frustrated by it. So really early on in my business, I delegated blog writing to somebody else. And I would just like audio record things, and I would send her audio messages. Like, I'd be at the store and I'd be inspired by something, and then she would turn it into a blog post and I would be the one to post it. But that was one of those things where I had the self-awareness really early on that writing for me is my zone of incompetence. I'm not good at it. I do not enjoy it. And I'm probably going to hate the result if I do it anyway. So I might as well just outsource it. But that came from self-awareness, right? Like having that understanding. Number 10 is being good under pressure. So being able to tackle situations that arise. And again, I know I said this earlier, but it's not possible to control every conversation that you're going to have with a client. It's not possible to control every situation that's going to happen in your business. And we have to be able to trust ourselves to respond or react under pressure. So there's a couple of good examples from my career that I can think of that like, wow, like I really did this without even realizing it. And now I know myself well enough to know that I actually excel under pressure. I tend to do better under pressure than not. So if you find yourself like a procrastinator and like that deadline, kind of encourages you to get something done, how can you might just excel under pressure a little bit. And like, you need to create a little bit of fake pressure in order to show up for something. Anytime I give myself a deadline. So if I tell myself I got to go live and I've got 40 minutes, I'll get it done. If I tell myself I have an hour, it'll take an hour, the same exact message. So just something to think about. I tend to excel with a little bit of time pressure. 2 ways that this showed up over the last like 5 years. One was the day that we got Alex. So for those of you who don't know, have not been following for a while, we adopted our son Alex from foster care. We got a call at about 12:30 that we were chosen, and they were dropping him off at about 4:30. So that we had a 4-hour window to go buy stuff like bedroom stuff and pajamas and all sorts of stuff for a kid that was moving in that night. And that he came at 4:30. At 5:30, I hopped on an academy call. That was a training call that night. Like, it was a live lesson. It was a Thursday. We always do our lessons on Thursday. And I just dove into it. And I knew that I could. I was in a really positive, happy mood. And I just thought, hey, I'm going to bring that energy right to it. Michael's got it. He's fine downstairs, that kind of thing. But I really just showed up under pressure in that way. Another situation that just happened recently, we had a massive leak in our house, underneath the slab of our house. And we woke up one morning to like all this water in our garage. It was like seeping up the walls. So all the drywall was wet, everything like that. It was a Saturday morning, and I had to hop on an academy call that morning. So we do the masterminding Q&A calls on Saturday mornings. And so I hopped on, and I just was like, I just got to get it done, right? And it was just that ability to compartmentalize a little bit and say, these people who are depending on me are showing up to get my help, and I can give them the best of me right now. And then as soon as I'm done, be able to go and tackle like handling the plumber and all that kind of stuff. Now, I believe, and I want to make this super clear, that it is really important to be good under pressure, but to also balance that with number 6 and number 9, which, just to remind you, was self-awareness and honesty. And knowing when it's best for the client to show up under pressure and just to show up in those moments, and knowing when it's not what's best for the client. Okay. So if I ever doubted in those moments that like I was going to do the academy participants a disservice or the client a disservice, I would have owned it and I would have been okay with that. But I really didn't feel like that was the case. And the example I have for this is the time that I got the call that my dad was diagnosed with cancer. So I found out that my dad was diagnosed with cancer and had gotten off the phone with him. And about 30 minutes later, I need to hop on a client call. And I remember during those 30 minutes, like giving myself a pep talk, telling myself it's going to be okay, like all the things that you go through, right? And just telling myself, okay, I'm going to do this call, and then I'll kind of figure out what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling and, digest all this information I just learned. I got on the call with a client, and I found within the first few minutes that I just couldn't get into it. I could not be really good for that client in that moment. And I know for me, it was still very fresh. I still hadn't thought of like what I thought of everything with my dad. I hadn't cried yet. So it was one of those things where I was very numb. That's what it was. I was just numb. I couldn't turn anything off because everything was off in that moment. And I just said, I'm so sorry. Her name was Diana. And I said, Diana, I'm so sorry. I have to be honest. I thought I could do this. I thought that, I could dive into this with you, and I was excited to dive into this with you, but I just got this call. Here's what happened. I fear I'm going to do you a big disservice, and I'm going to ask that we reschedule. And get this, you guys, this client was an artist. She was a painter. She had a business, and she sold her paintings to businesses. And so as a client, I was helping her structure her business and figure out cash flow and how much to sell paintings for and how to manage the money that came from it and all that kind of stuff. And she said, Kelsa, you're not going to believe this, because I didn't know this. She said, before I was an artist, I was a grief counselor. And I would be honored if you would allow me to help you right now, like you've helped me over the last, I think it was like year or something. She was like, I would be honored if you wouldn't mind just talking with me right now and letting me sort of repay you for all that you've done for me. She's like, you, and I had no idea that she had been a grief counselor. Okay. And it's still till this day, like one of those gifts that I've been given in the world, where I am now so much better when my clients are experiencing grief. I feel like what she did for me in that hour, I now also understand what I do for clients in an hour, because I give them valuable advice like she gave me valuable advice right when I needed it, and gave things to me in such clarity and helped me show up for my dad in a way that I would not have been able to do otherwise if I had not gotten on that call with her. And I wouldn't have gotten that advice and that gift if I had not just been honest with her, right? So in some cases, you can totally show up and be that person for your clients, but also just owning when you can't and being okay with that too. So I want to recap really quickly the 10. Number 1, flexibility. Number 2, creativity and creative problem solving. Number 3, empathy. Number 4, a desire to help. Number 5, resourcefulness. Number 6, honesty and transparency. Number 7, being able to share bad news gracefully, compassionately, and constructively. If you have a word for that, please tell me what it is. A growth mindset, self-awareness, and being good under pressure, being able to tackle situations that arise. I would love to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think of this list of 10. In what ways have these shown up for you maybe in your business? Are you seeing them as well, just like I have? I'm curious if you are surprised by any of them. And again, this is not meant to be all inclusive. If you've got some that would be on your top 10 list, please share them with me. I would love to hear from you. So this was great. I can't wait to see the comments, because I'm sure there are some and I just can't read them. I will post links to all of the stuff that I shared with you guys. And I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. Dress up, take pictures, be festive, even though I'm not that festive on Halloween. Be festive for me, please. I'll live through you. Okay, bye, you guys.